Yo, this is going to be kind of like an unscripted thing, but basically I messed up my SADX install. So I gotta set everything up all over again. So I'm going to kind of just go through all of it and talk about what I'm doing along the way. And then I will, it'll be on the YouTube for everyone to view. So I have an install. It is the full version of the install, basically. It's got like all the basically all the FMVs, all of the voices, and then all of the I don't know music. It's all chilling in here, and that's cool and awesome. But this game does not really have I don't like it doesn't really run very well in its current state. And for to fix that, you need the SADX Mod Loader. I use a 2018 version of the mod loader. This version does not have any issues in Skydeck. It is just a version at a point in time that, it has some, I guess, modifications to the normal game. I think it does have some patches. Like there's, I don't know, like there's probably some patches and stuff like that in here. I haven't really looked into it too deeply, but basically, I use this version because I don't like being a test bed for the newer versions. If you just allow updates for the SADX Mod Manager or whatever it's called now, I think it's just like a Sonic Adventure Mod Manager because it works with both SADX and SA2. But basically, if you get an update and you go to do a run and something's messed up, it could be the mod loader, and I just try to, keep it the same version to try to make sure that, this is not one of the things that can go wrong. I don't really like being a test bed because I'm on pace, something blows up. That's awesome. Anyway, I guess that's an aside of my paranoia. But what we're going to do here is that I'm going to basically just copy this into the install folder. And this is going to be able to work on top, I guess on top of the game. But first, what I need to do is install the loader. That there should just do everything that you need. And for now, I'm going to leave this all kind of default for the time being. And from here, I did get my modifications from a previous install, I guess mods. And I'm going to throw these into here. I can kind of explain each one. Let's do it on this screen. I don't know why the icon went away. That's weird. What I'm going to do actually first is remove the checks for updates. And that just makes it so I don't accidentally update for some reason. So basically, I'm going to go through each mod and kind of why I use them. 63 FPS limiter. There is a version in the SADX Discord that I think like does, I don't know, some thread optimizations or something like that. I'm not really sure, but I turned that one on. I use 63. There's also a 60 FPS limiter, but I come from the era where the game kind of ran at 62, 63 FPS because I started on Windows 7. And whenever it went to Windows 10, early versions of Windows 10, I'm not sure if it's the case now, but early versions of Windows 10, they basically locked it to 60, locked the entire game to 60. Really not sure why. But anyway, we came up with an IGT timer, like an in-game time using livesplit, and then like the 60 and 63 FPS for whatever you prefer. Just because I started in the, before Windows 10 was a thing, I stick to 63 FPS. The camera code error fix. This is kind of just it's an interesting one. But basically the effect of this mod is, it's right here. Basically the camera will always reset to auto if you enter a new level. And that kind of really affects the camera routing and runs. A lot of characters play far better on free camera. I think all this does is just an instruction change. The debug mode, I don't have this on for runs, but I mean, obviously I don't have it on for runs because if I pressed like L1 or anything like that, I'd it'd get all the collision stuff to come up. But basically, I keep this at version 2.15 because I think it works with the version of the input mod. I think there's like a breaking change. If I upgrade one or the other one breaks. I just don't remember which one. But this debug mode is useful for it's mainly useful for like viewing kill planes, I guess. Basically in the Veritas trainer, there is there's an option to be able to view kill planes. It's useful for that. I think that's generally the only reason why I use it. And then the egg hornet crash fix. I haven't really experienced an egg hornet crash personally, but this is kind of a safety mod. I don't know why it's not just baked into the mod manager at this point. It wouldn't be baked into this one anyway. And then the input mod, I have set the version to 2.51. I'll get into why right now, actually. I set it to 2.51 because of controller remapping. If I can probably get into the game now, right? Yeah, let's get into the game with these settings. But first, I need to just transfer my save data over. You can find all of these on... Where did I put it? I put it somewhere. I guess maybe I'll just take it from the old install. I have a dumb old install folder. And what I'll do in here is basically just put everything into there. And there's tons of save files in here. What I've done is that I just have like I just have like 100 of these save files for resets. Sometimes I use a different method of resetting, but if I choose to use, 99 files or whatever, that's what I do. All right, so why I have this set to 2.51. Main reason behind that is because of the default mapping for the controller. It's really good. So you have, I'm pressing A, that's jump. B is spin dash. L and R, right stick, that's your camera. Y is the whistle. That's fine. That's cool. Everything's awesome. But then you press the left stick in, and it is the worst thing ever. If it just would work once. So if I'm in auto cam and I press the left stick in, it is the E key on the keyboard, which is almost, I don't know if it's ever been useful. I don't know if there's ever an instance where this is a thing that's awesome and useful. And then if I press the right stick in, it's slow walk. That's less of a problem. But if I'm really moving, I'm like, uh-oh. And now the camera's like trying to follow. It's bad. It's terrible. So what I do to combat, to like kind of deal with it, is that there's a gamepad tool. The link to this can also be found in the SADX Discord. And what this does is that you can remap your buttons because the remapping settings in the input mod, they don't work for me. But maybe they do, and I'm just bad at using it. I don't know, but this is just easier. It's whatever. So what I do is that I just create a new mapping, and this is going to be different for every controller. So I can't really share you the resulting text file that'll happen. But basically, I'm going to press all the buttons that I see that I want to use. I'm going to skip this one because that one will open up the Windows game bar, and everyone hates that thing. I'm going to skip this one. This is not a stick direction. This is pressing it in. Same with that one. And then what I'm going to do, just keep going with the rest of the buttons. Boom, 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 boom. And then there we go. And that will be the X input controller. And I can copy that mapping string, and it's basically just going to be the exact same as the one I already had that I removed temporarily for the video. Basically, it's going to be the exact same as this one. And I guess I don't know why the other file is so long. That's funny. So now if I go into the game, don't know why the OBS is still up. So if I go into the game, that mapping won't work anymore. See, I am, you probably can't hear on the mic, I'm pressing that E button, or, you know, I'm pressing the stick, nothing's happening, which is awesome. It means the game is playable now. Cool. So that's pretty much kind of, I think those are kind of the required ones. I guess my point was the reason why I use 2.51 is that it has the version of SDL that works with this gamepad tool. If I go forward in the input mod, there's no version of the gamepad tool that works with that. So awesome and cool, and yeah, I'm stuck, which is fine as long as it works. And that's all that matters. The last mod that I kind of use sometimes is the SADX Speedrun mod. It has a couple of cool abilities. It has the camera code error fix stuck in there, and then it also you can also start the entire game in free camera. By default, you have to switch to free from auto at the very beginning of the game. You can obviously do that in another file, another story before a run. But like say if you're running Knuckles story, which is mostly done in free cam, or Amy story, same thing, mostly in free cam. You kind of want it to be, you know, in free camera at the beginning of the game. However, I guess the other thing to note is that you don't have to reset that every run. If you have CCEF turned on, you can just you only have to switch to free once, and then it'll always be free unless you switch back to auto. So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty good to have that stuff in the mod. And then there's also the quick save reload. This makes resets a lot quicker. Basically what you're able to do is that you press Y, after like soft resetting or whatever, you press Y and you can reload a save file. It just makes resetting a lot faster. And in reset heavy stories like Knuckles, or I guess kind of any story at this point in SADX history. Excuse me. It's just a nice convenience to have. It probably saves you about 10-15 seconds every single reset. These are the settings I use. I guess the last time I used it was for Tails story, and I have it set to in-game save number. And you just use whatever. Also, my real name is Shane. Hi, everybody. Yeah. You just use your save path or whatever. I don't know. Who cares? But yeah, besides that, I do have a few settings that I like to change in here. I guess I kept it mostly default, just a 640 by 480 to get it running. So the first thing, I guess what I'll go over first is the actual game's configuration. If you go into config editor here, this is the config editor for the game itself. First thing is to switch this to window mode, unless I guess you can do full screen obviously, but right now I'm on one monitor, so window mode is obviously best. Frame rate is high. Normal and low are literally banned. They are janky and terrible, and they mess with the in-game timer. So that's really cool. But I don't know. Like, you can use it on a site that doesn't have a rule against it, like TSC, I guess. But in terms of the speedrun.com boards, they're banned. The clip level, you can set this to any of them, really. Fire will give you more objects. It might not be like a desirable thing. I guess it just might not be like a desirable thing to have all the time. There's like Red Mountain as Sonic can get a little bit more difficult, same as Skydeck. Everything's not terrible to avoid, but fire is basically everything that you'd normally see on, like, say, the GameCube version or whatever, every other version. And fog emulation, I'm going to set it to far for now. For Knuckles, I like setting it to normal just because of there's a thing in Casinopolis. There's an extra thing of collision that appears. It can actually obstruct your entire play. So, yeah. The fog emulation, I like to put this to emulation. Auto just means that if you have like a potato PC, this one setting or the other could like lag your PC really bad. But the like if you have a decent one, I like to use emulation because you can see like say for Final Egg, it's not completely dark when you jump off the stage. Final Egg Act 3 Sonic, it's not completely dark, so you can actually see the end of the stage, and it's just easier to work with. Auto will turn on the fog in the game. It can make some places more difficult, like Final Egg Act 3 Sonic. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that screen here. Sound, I think I turned off 3D sound. It doesn't really matter. I don't think. I usually turn it off. I don't know. I think I turned it off in my last install in a scramble to try to figure out why why my game was lagging a bunch more. Enable sounds, enable music. Those are kind of your preference. Like say if I'm listening to music, I'll turn off the music in the game. And then mouse and controller, really just not relevant. And then we're done with those settings, and now I can go to the rest of the settings. All of these codes, there's really nothing in here. Infinite lives, you can turn that on for ILs. That is allowed because lives can go over the maximum counter on screen is 99, but your life counter can go up to 126 or 127 or something like that before the game crashes. So it's like it's impossible to detect, really. So yeah, you can turn it on for ILs. If you turn it on for runs, like it'll get like for full game runs, it'll get rejected. I think everything else in here just doesn't really matter all that well or all that much. Don't do all characters unlocked codes. Those will get your run rejected too. But yeah, not a ton to talk about here because I don't really turn any of them on ever. And there's your graphics. Enable VSync is nice if you have like G-Sync or whatever, like a variable refresh rate monitor, or like a 60 hertz monitor and you play on 60 FPS. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth turning on. Scaling to screen, downsample the game. I don't know. I just keep that on. I play at 640 by 480 because of Sky Chase. Works way significantly better on 640 by 480. Even with the Sky Chase fixes turned on, 640 by 480 is just like really the only way to it feels weird to me. I don't know. But it's like the least laggy version of the game as well if you play on 640 by 480. So I'd recommend a 1080p monitor or else it'll get way too small. But really, it's up to you. I've seen people play on literally 4K, and their PCs work fine. Mine's just kind of a dust bucket. Is that a word? I don't know. I've heard of it before. I don't know. Anyway, force texture filtering, force mid mapping. These are nice to have turned on. You're allowed to turn them on for runs. These are nice to have because it makes the game less gross looking. It kind of looks like it just looks terrible if you don't have them turned on, in my opinion. UI scaling literally doesn't matter I just keep it a default. Literally does not matter at 640 by 480. And that's pretty much it here. Yeah. The other part, I don't keep a CD. I don't have a CD drive, man. Let's be honest. This one is super nice to have. I don't know. I haven't had problems with it. I don't know why I was about to say it's super nice. I think I'm just tiring out of talking for the last while. Pause when inactive. You don't really want this to be turned on if you plan on ever tabbing out of your game. So now I'm going to save, and that gets us a lot farther here. I'm going to see if I can try to get lag to appear. So my computer's kind of a... You see that little bit of lag that just happened before I selected Sonic? There's a way to get less of it. And it's kind of going, I guess it's going kind of scorched earth in the whole thing, but basically, if you, I don't know, you could just remove these, honestly, or just rename them. It doesn't matter. The game doesn't care. Just remove or do something with these folders if your computer's lag. I don't know why my computer's like that, but it does that. And now I think there might be a little less lag. Maybe not. This game has surprised me before, and I will cut all of this out if that is the case. No lag. See what I mean? There's zero lag now that I don't have voices in the game. So, I don't know. That's a good thing to try if you're having troubles with the voices lagging the game. I don't know. Like, I get that people might be like, "Where's all the voices?" And like, but I want my game to be better, so I turn off the voices. That sounds really funny out of context. I'm going to cut that out. That was a bad joke. I'm going to cut that out. But yeah, so now you can kind of start runs. That's kind of how I set up the game, and that's how I keep it. I don't really make any changes, and now I have the game pretty much set up exactly how I like it to be set up. Thank you all for watching. All right, I forgot something. I'm gonna just I think what I'll do is that I'll make this all available on speedrun.com, but I'm just gonna quickly go over to livesplit's setup. So basically you can download any version. I don't think it matters. I think what I'll do is that I'll make the split files available on speedrun.com website with everything updated and all that good stuff. Basically, what you want to have shown on screen in every single case is the game time. You want this compare against setting that needs to be set to game time. If that and that has to be on like, you know, any layout, but I will probably provide a basic layout. Just this is the default layout. I probably will provide that as well. And basically it does have a fail safe. It has a game time timer. That's the top one. And the bottom one is the real time. Especially real time is not, it's not like needed for submissions that are under like the threshold. But if you're a newer runner, you might want that real time one on screen as well, because that might be the time that you end up submitting with over, like if you don't have game time or whatever. I don't know if you don't have it set up correctly or whatever. But yeah, this is what I'll probably do is that I'll just provide all the splits. But yeah, this is kind of the default settings. There's a lot of stuff going on in terms of like, there's tons of settings. Just you can do so many splits for the stories, but this is kind of the very basic, like these are default settings. Yeah, I think now I've got everything. Thank you all for watching.